Welcome to the So Far So Rare podcast. This week I'm speaking with Cani. I haven't spoke to him in 5 months and a lot has changed. We talked about a couple of big purchases both of us have made, speculated about the summer, announced the details of the biggest ever So Rare meetup, and chatted about lots more. I hope you enjoy it. Please do like the video and subscribe to the channel. Cani, welcome back to the podcast. It's been how many months? 6 months? The 14th of January was the last time you were here. And I actually didn't tell you this, but you should be very honored. Do you want to know why?
Why?
This is our 1 year anniversary podcast.
Oh, really?
It is, yeah. I just
Hey, let's
realized.
go. I do feel
I, s-
honored now.
I saw it was 51, and I was like, oh, well, 51 isn't 52. But then I remembered we took 1 week off for Christmas and just put out the drunk cast that I'd recorded. So it
I
was
remember that one. Yep.
it was 1 year ago because I remember it started on my birthday, and everyone, 18th of June is my birthday. Don't forget, send me lots of happy birthday wishes, please. I need it for my confidence, and also send me lots of offers on Twitter of cards because I need them. Anyway, it's my birthday. Don't forget, it's my birthday. But Charlie, how have you been? It's been a long time.
It's been a long time of learning, making mistakes, and not learning from my mistakes, making them again, buying things on hype. But still, like, it's been very enjoyable, mate. I really have been enjoying the game so much. I wouldn't change anything for anything right now. Like, any mistake I've made, it's fine. Because the enjoyment I get from this game is just levels above anything, any game I can play right now. Let's put it that way.
I see you've got some cracking cards there. We've both made two of our. I don't know. Is that your biggest signing ever?
I think so. Yeah.
We both made
Actually, in terms of Fiat, no. Kirkju at the time was a lot. But Hill, in terms of ETH, definitely is my biggest signing.
In terms of, just the stature of the signing, we've both made our biggest signings this week. We can talk about that. But it seems like, you do have a lot of Asian, you do have a lot of American. You do have some Europeans, obviously. You have some crackers there, particularly from Holland. And Vitor Ferreira. I see Saliba, Payet. You had that Marseille stack going at one stage, quite unfortunately. Wasn't it breaking your heart?
Yeah.
Yeah, but you do have some of the best ballers in the States. You've Castellanos there, Carlos Gil. There's more. Jesus Ferreira. A lot of these guys jump out at me. So what was this a very purposely done thing? Did you ever care about the MLS before? Has SoRare done that to you? Talk to me about your gallery.
Yeah, that's I think the beauty of SoRare, really, what a lot of people seem to be underestimating. It opened up a lot of new areas that I got involved in now, especially with MLS and Asia. Like, I wake up at 8 a.m. and I watch Japanese league games now because I want to see how Slovak and Morishiga do. Yeah. And then I was fascinated by how they played the last few games. Tactically, it was something I haven't seen over there, playing like triangles and everything. And then the MLS specifically, I enjoy because of the entertainment. I don't know what it is, but the MLS is very entertaining to watch.
Johnny, I tell you, it's entertaining to watch in person. Like I'm saying, when I was there, and in the vlog, I said something like, "You don't get this in Europe." And don't get me wrong, the atmospheres in Germany and stuff, I'm sure you do get it in Europe.
Yeah.
But like the novelty factor and entertainment factor was insane. And I'm glad that's kind of reflected on TV because it was so much fun going to that game.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw your guys' vlog and everything. It seemed like a really, really good time. But yeah, the main reason why I obviously wanted to get involved into these regions was because I was enjoying SoRare so much to the point where I thought, man, I just don't want to be sat here waiting for 3 months and do nothing all the time, because I wanted to still be involved in the community. I wanted to be involved in anything that happens, people talking about the match day and how certain games have gone, how certain players are popping out now and doing really well. And I just felt like I didn't want to miss out on that. So I kind of cycled away from the Marseille stacks that I had, some of the players that I had in Europe that were somewhat all right, but not great. And some others that I really was happy with, like Moussa Dembele, who was insane towards the end of the season for Lyon. I got rid of him as well on my pursuit towards that Hill item. And yeah, just the fact that I had some of the possibly better players when it comes to the summer period with Hill, Cecilia, Pablo Ruiz as well. I just felt like it was the right decision to make because it would have been a big missed opportunity.
Yeah, No, I hear you. And it is right. I suppose the beauty of SoRare that you've went down that avenue and you're entertained all summer. I'm finding myself here scratching my bollocks, wondering what to be at. So I went and built like a threshold grinding Asian team because I had a bit of ETH.
Yeah.
And I'm just excited to kind of follow that. And outside that, I do have a couple of decent limited teams, but like you probably aren't getting this feeling, but I'm starting to get it now, and I don't know how the listeners are. Whenever you have a European heavy gallery, it's a really exciting time. It can be a nerve-wracking time, particularly when you're
Mm,
under 23s and you have premium under
yeah.
23s. But like it's so exciting because every day there can be a new rumor and you start to see your gallery take shape for next season. And a lot
Yes.
of the guys I buy are based on speculation and based on hoping they get the right move or whatever.
Yeah.
So and the other thing is like I know as the summer comes along, I remember from last year, you know, different leagues start at different periods, different times. And I mean, lots of people have the calendars and you can go and check it all out and plan, but I'm not that guy. It's so fun opening up the lineup builder and all of a sudden, oh, Eredivisie's
Yeah.
back. And you're there, you're looking at, oh my God, remember I bought that guy. Jeez, oh no
Yeah.
way. Or what? He's playing now. He's over here. Jeez. I can't wait. I love it. There is this kind of wee dry spell and then
Yeah.
it goes mad.
I mean, it
Um,
reflects on the market as well, right? You can just tell by the way
yeah.
the prices have been going for some of these players, especially the rumors seem to affect a lot of the players. If it's a good rumor, people are going after the item, like Jota staying at Celtic. If it's a bad rumor, like Kökçü going to AS Roma to sit on the bench, um, those things are obviously not great. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's nice to keep track of those things. Like for me specifically, I only have for the European season, I have an under 23s team that I didn't want to let go of because I got so attached to the players. So Niklas Hedl, Saliba, Kökçü, Sinisterra, Vitinha, and literally
Mm.
every single one of them has transfer worries. Saliba, does he stay at Arsenal? Yes or no? Hedl, does he actually play first team or is he actually going to be going down to the bench again? Kökçü, is he
Mm.
going? Yes or no? Because he was an exciting player to watch this season. Many teams looking at him. Sinisterra is his contract is running out next summer, I believe, so he's probably very likely to go.
Mm.
And yeah, it's a very awkward spot to be in, like you mentioned a second ago. Like I watch those rumors all day long, just looking what's
Yeah, yeah.
happening.
Oh man, I mean the amount of like how on edge I am. I'm not actually on edge, but I mean like trying to follow per shares after buying the two super rares of him.
Oof.
Everything in my gut is telling me, everything I see, every rumor I see is that he's not good enough for Ajax.
Yeah,
Everyone's saying he's on his way out. The Jury and Timber rumors have quietened down a little bit, and I'm like, this is going to end in tears. but
possibly.
but there is that Hail Mary chance, you know.
Yes.
All I need is a wee ACL somewhere in that team.
Yeah, Daily Blind. I
all,
mean, who knows?
all
Or
I need is
Lisandro,
something. Get that per shares in there locked. But I don't know. The good thing is he has said that he won't stay if he isn't guaranteed first team minutes. But
That's
what did I
interesting.
want to bring up? Here's an interesting one for you now. ETH has crashed massively since there was the last podcast, and I kind of
Yeah,
wanted you on anyway. I've reached out to you in the last few weeks, but then this made it even more like I know you're into your crypto a bit.
yeah.
Um, ETH has plummeted big time. I don't even know in the last 24 hours it's down 21% apparently. No, that's the blockchain by NFT sales volume. Let me see. If I go ETH euro over here, in the last month it's down 45%. In the last 5 days it's
Yes.
down 27%.
Mhm.
Now that I'll give you a little spiel and then I'll see what you think. So
Yeah.
what I always say is, and just let me finish, right? My initial statement is always a card is worth what a card's worth. That would be my gravestone almost because I've said it so much. Like, ETH can crumble to the ground. The bottom line is a card's worth what a card's worth. If ETH halves in price, I ask you for double ETH in my card. And all that works very, very well in theory. In theory, that's exactly how it should work and would work.
Mhm.
But what actually happens is when ETH crashes like this, it brings a lot of fear into the market, and that fear makes
Mhm.
people maybe act a little more irrationally, maybe or rationally. Maybe they get spooked and they want to liquidate a bit. Maybe they want to de-risk.
Yeah.
You could argue at the worst time. Um, so while in an on the face of it, ETH's price shouldn't dictate the price of a SoRare card. The card should be worth what it's worth, and you charge the ETH accordingly. It
Mhm.
doesn't quite work like that because
Yeah.
of the fear in the market, because of how it changes attitudes, and because there is a delay for the market to react. There's always going to be 2 days of listings there, and unless they're all snapped up or people are on the ball, which a lot of people aren't, they all need to expire. New listings need to come for those prices to be raised. So automatically, you've almost got a 2-day delay built in. So whenever ETH crashes 10, 20% overnight, the market doesn't just change like that. It
Yeah.
takes that day or two, and then maybe another few days, because people are still kind of half undercutting each other, and then they start to be bought up, and then it kind of, the prices start to raise. You can see the ETH prices of cards going up at the minute, but
Hmm.
the Fiat value isn't necessarily going up. Quite often, it's going down or plateaued.
Yeah.
Um, so that's how I just see the market. Like, I'll be honest with you, Chani, and call me naive. As a guy with a gallery the size of mine relative to his overall wealth, I honestly haven't lost anything. I just haven't cared. Honestly, I
Yeah.
just don't care. And something that's given me a little bit of solace, not only because I'm here for the long run, because I back SoRare, and I'm not saying everyone needs to. People
Yeah. Of
can change
course
their
not.
mind
Yeah.
100%. But for me, maybe it's something that I shouldn't care about as much. But like, whenever I seen that kind of crypto slam table, and I seen all those big PFP projects crumbling,
Mm,
or at least dropping sort of 50, 60, 75%, whatever, they're crumbling.
mm.
I know a guy with 1 million, and he had 1 million worth of NFTs. It's now worth 100 grand. You're
Oh,
talking like big hits. But SoRare was like one of the, it's a bit different today. There are people on that table with them, but they are kind of much smaller projects with lower amounts of buyers and tokens.
mm.
But SoRare in the last 24 hours has the most buyers of any project. It
Which,
has
real quick, the 24 hours thing, I think it's kind of slanted because Zura sold his gallery.
ah
Yeah. So
how
I
much was
looked at
that?
that as well, and I thought, oh wow, this is amazing. And then a day later, I think someone brought this up and said Zura sold his gallery. I think it was Laird in their podcast. Bellama basically bought all of his gallery.
Did he pay him through SoRare, I wonder?
Yeah, it was through SoRare. Like you can look at the
Okay.
transactions and you can see.
Ah,
I'm not 100% sure on this, but like I have seen the transaction is like mostly Bellama picking up all the items.
see
So
it. Go
that's
and look
kind
at.
of slanted. But at the same time, to go back to this whole ETH fiat debate that everyone seems to have all day long, at the end of the day, what I come to now is like there is no right or wrong. I personally will buy players at whatever ETH or fiat price at that moment I feel comfortable with. So if I feel
Mm,
like, oh, look, Hill is now down by 700 euros in terms of fiat, but he's up in terms of ETH at that time, I'm like, you know what? I feel like this is a good spot to buy. He's going to bring me a lot of enjoyment, lots of
mm,
rewards, hopefully, if he doesn't get injured. If I can somehow justify a purchase, if it is fiat or ETH, it doesn't matter to me. As long as it brings me enjoyment, which it does, I'm just going to go ahead and do it. And that's something that I've kind of come to now with this whole ETH fiat thing. I think there is no right or wrong. And that's going to be a never ending story. People are going to talk about this all the time. People will
yeah.
have fiat based opinions and people will have ETH based opinions. And they were like, I'm a maximalist on this side. I'm a maximalist on this side. And I just don't think anyone is 100% right. So
Yeah.
I'll just do whatever I want as long as I'm having fun. I guess that's the point that I'm trying to get to. Like, I feel comfortable with being the top dot for Hill, but then like 2 days later, someone just bought him for 3.3 or 3.4 ETH, I believe, like on the auction.
Mhm.
It's already up like nearly 1 ETH. So like, yeah, I don't know. I just feel comfortable with the purchases wherever it's happening. Like Kuku's down massively on his fiat value from where I bought him.
Mhm.
I'm still okay with it because I believe in the project long term. And as you said, like it doesn't bother me as much because I'm having
Yeah.
fun. And I feel like people are just undervaluing the amount of fun that you're having. Like if you
Ah,
go to a cinema, you pay money to be entertained, right?
yeah.
We pay money in here, which is of course some galleries pay big money to be entertained. But when things go right, the enjoyment is even like worth even more to you. It has no
Mm.
monetary like number to it.
But you could argue that a lot of that fun is spun off the stakes. Would I
Yeah.
find SoRare as fun? Quite honestly, if I had a really low stakes gallery where, even if it was with big cars, I'm competing all over the gaff.
Mm,
If the stakes were much lower in terms of my exposure, would it give me that endorphin rush? Would it give me, the excitement? I don't know, because I do love the game and I do play FPL because it's free and I enjoy it. So maybe I actually do think SoRare is a very good game, and I think socially, if it was better known and your friends were involved, I could get that sort of just pure
mm.
fun aspect. But Yeah, the thing about fun is, right, and it goes to my big purchase of the week. You mentioned Gil, I'll mention mine. And he's not even the most expensive card I've bought recently in a long time. In
Mm.
fact, he's not the most expensive card I've bought by any means, particularly when you look at it in Fiat. I bought a unique. I bought Nicholas Dorsch. He plays for
Yes.
Augsburg. He used to play at Ghent, and he suits the matrix. He doesn't play in a dominant team.
Yeah.
Um, he plays kind of defensive midfield, I believe, or midfielder kind of. I don't know if
Yeah.
I'll be honest
He's
with you,
like
Kenny.
a DM sentiment type.
Yeah, this is one
Like
of
you play
those where
both.
I haven't watched a lot of this guy at all. All I know is historically, when you look at Dorsch, he was an SO5 monster back at
Mm.
Ghent, right? And then he moved up to a bigger league. He plays in a mid-table team that isn't amazing, and he still churns out okay scores.
It's not
I've
even
wanted a unique
mid-table.
for a
It's
long
like
time.
lower. They were fighting against
Yeah,
relegation for a very long time. I think you made a great purchase there, mate. Honestly, I
I
don't know how much you
and
paid
it
for him
goes.
actually,
Well,
but I
here we
like the
go.
guy.
It goes back to that conversation about Ethan and Euro. So on my gallery, the activity over the last week's been a bit manic. There was a gallery review done by the SoRare Andrews, a SoRare Andrew, Andy Laird, and PSU fans. And the points they gave were very, very valid. And I
Yeah.
followed them for a day. What happened was, look, their plan was all great on paper, but I couldn't get Leao sold for a price that I wanted to sell them for. No one was
Yeah.
coming close to last sale, and I actually kind of am happy to hold them. I kind of like having that exposure to the
Mm.
elite prospect. I'm not against selling them. Same with Kulusevski, not against selling them. Even a Trent, I kind of wanted to keep my Trents, but I'm not against it. It was more just the liquidity. I didn't want to settle. I couldn't get the ETH off these guys, and now
Mm.
I don't really want to sell given the prices. But my point is, like, I actually didn't have this 2030 ETH because I couldn't get the cards sold, even though I'd listed them at what I thought was fair prices. But I did have that 9 ETH, and I bought a Zion Fleming. I bought a Newmar Solet. So Solet is like a really premium central defender, super
Yeah.
rare for next season at Salzburg.
Yeah.
Fleming, depending on his transfer, who knows what's going to happen, but could be a really good option. And then I kind of went DJing, where I realized that ETH was starting to tank. I had a
Mm.
lot of exposure to ETH, and I seen it was starting to slide. And I
Yeah.
don't really follow ETH religiously. I
Panic
don't know a
kicks in.
hell of a lot, but I was like, thank God I was right. Pure luck. I was looking
Yeah.
at it, was like, I don't want to hold another 8 ETH, 6 ETH
Mm.
for a week, because all the advice and the best decision in the world was sit on it, be patient. The right auctions will come up over the summer. You'll get your guys. You have another 6 to 8 weeks before the season starts. Patience, John. That's what people would say. But in reality, I was sat on a ton of ETH that I didn't want to be exposed to. So I said,
Yeah.
I need to spend this shit quick.
Mm.
Hulsager is a guy I know who tipped me on De Kaiser, Toby Layson, different guys last season in the Eredivisie, and he reckons Hulsager will come back with a bang. He thinks he'll get more game time to play better. So I said, okay, well, the Super Rare's 0.2 ETH. I back your word. I'm buying him. I bought him.
Mhm.
Chukwueze, I think Perez mentioned me saying if you fancy a wee punt and you're looking for a midfielder who could do better next season, check him out. His price is good. Went and looked at his price, went and looked at him, thought, you know what, actually, I like it. Yeah, let's see what happens here. Put an offer in. I forget what it was, but I got him cheaper than it was. It was listed at like 0.5 ETH. Got it.
That's
I
like
don't even know.
750 euros.
Yeah, I got him a bit less for a super rare under 23 for another season. Wonderful. Then it was another couple of days, and I woke up, and ETH was really starting to tank. ETH was like, oh, fuck. And I had the balance, and the market hadn't quite reacted. There was that delay that I speak of,
Yes. Yes.
where literally the previous night I'd been negotiating with, is it Monsieur Seguin on the
Yeah.
Nicolo Ravella. He had him listed for 1.29, and I was there saying, I'll give you an ETH, I'll give you an ETH, I'll give you this. And he was, no, I can't, blah, blah, blah. And I'd sent him a message to negotiate, and he kind of said, he didn't reply. And it was bedtime.
Mm.
And I woke up in the morning, and Big Man was obviously still in bed. Still had him on the market at 1.29, but ETH had plummeted by, I don't know, 10, 20%, whatever it was. And I just snap bought off the market because I wanted the guy. ETH was tanking. I liked the
Mm.
ETH price. I had ETH exposure. Let me get rid of this ETH.
Yeah.
And I've been looking at Tony Cruz. Tony Cruz is down in value for many reasons. Played tough games at the end of the season. Didn't score like he did throughout the season. He's not that old. I understand Camavinga and Shumeni have signed. And you could
Yeah.
say they have one too many midfielders now. It's really bad and it's everywhere.
Oh no.
But I wanted rid of the ETH, so I went and I bought Tony Cruz, and I actually tried to buy Morioka because I kind of liked him, and I've been talking about them a lot recently. So that was the logic. I'm not saying it's perfect, but the thing is, you see, trying to get under 23 super rares, that actually are good, that don't have the risk of a transfer that'll kill them, that aren't rotation risks, or that aren't like
5 ETH at least, right?
they're mad.
Yeah.
Mad. You're looking at Joey Veerman.
Oh, mate,
Like,
yeah. Like 10
you
by now?
know?
10, 11, 12?
Yeah.
What is he?
A lot. And I'll give you the last sort of rant about my recent spending. Dorsch,
Mm.
ETH was crippled. I have a decent Fiat balance outside that I wasn't really planning on putting into SoRare. But when I seen the price of ETH, and again, there was that delay in the market, and I was scanning through uniques, I was scanning through super rares, and I seen Dorsch was like 0.4. And I was like,
Mm.
0.4 for a Dorsch super rare. It's like, this is a guy who long term could be great, gets the transfer, finds a few more decisives in the game. The team does better this season. There's a load of things that could go right here in my head.
Yeah.
He's played with the national team before. Is he a bit off the actual national team? I assume he is. But like, I was thinking, like, there are things that can go right here. Checked his injury history. There's nothing that malicious there. I was like, 0.4 for the super rare. This is because he's aging out of under 23s and he has an injury. I said, so I went and I said, you know what it is? Let's look at the unique. And I went and looked at the unique, and it was listed for 4 ETH. Now, I don't have any experience in uniques. I'm sure a lot of listeners don't. I kind of said that's a bit much. But with the Fiat price and whatever else, I was like, So I said, I'll give you 2.5. He said, no, give me 3. I said, I'll give you 2.5. He said, 2.75. I said, no, Cani. I said, no. I said, 2.5 is on the table if you want it. He said, okay. So we did 2.5 ETH. I bought him. And I actually, I have him now. And I'm over the moon. I have my Dorsch. I have a unique. I'm on the ladder. Is it strategically the best thing for my gallery? Absolutely not. Do I give a fuck? No. Did it give me a little tingly feeling in my ball sack? Absolutely.
Yes.
I'm a unique. I'm a fucking wheel now, Cani. I've got a Dorsch. So look, there's the spiel. That's the spiel I'm spending. The feedback was much appreciated by the Andrews. Unfortunately, liquidating a lot of the guys. Do you know what I also realized? And Cani, you're the guest, and I'm talking over you flat out.
I saw good.
A huge part of my enjoyment in SoRare is the speculation.
Yeah,
like
I get it.
Andrew and PSU, Sean, are big into their yielding through SO5, and I am
Money
torn.
balls.
I've said to them, like, I get it. I want to win more. Winning more is good content. I want to win more, but I think I will win more. I've bought enough quality there. I think my gallery is growing up. I feel they're all going to have better seasons next year. I think I will win more, but equally, like, some of the biggest buzzes I got, and everyone here's sick of hearing about them, but it's because they were some of the biggest sources of my enjoyment last season. Were the Kulusevski transfer, the Nico Williams to Fulham, the Liao hitting the ground running, De Kaiser. And if I can look towards next season and all of a sudden Nicolo Rovella gets a good move, I'll enjoy that. I'd probably enjoy that more than if Zion Fleming just does what he did last season, as counterintuitive as that is. Like,
yeah. I don't know. That expectation from him already. Like with Fleming, the upside isn't really there that much.
But downside is.
Yeah, downside is, but with players like a Rovella, for example, if he gets a decent move, you have that upside, right? That you can look forward to. That SoRare is probably going to be unreal for you as well.
I hope so. He's a bit injury prone. If he can dance around that, he could be an absolute monster for me. But look, I did buy a couple of nice guys. And here's the other thing. I'm going to pop back at Sean Newsham on a podcast, all right? I love the guy. But Sean will say in one sentence, Nellis needs to buy more quality. Nellis needs to do this. Nellis needs to do that. And he's saying the next sentence, Nellis will buy one guy for 5 ETH. I'll buy 10 guys for 4.5 ETH. And if 2 of them come off, I'm good. If 3 of them come off, I'm in the money. If 4 of them come off, I'm a millionaire. When I buy 10 guys for 5 ETH, I get lambasted for not buying quality.
I mean, the thing
do you know what I mean?
When you're on a podcast or you make content so much, there's always going to be things that you say that contradict each other. So I think he's probably fully aware of that. I think the worst thing that Sean ever said was probably the fact that he could play goalkeeper for Celtic. But
was it Ajax?
Ajax.
Yeah. And then we've got Tony Watts going to take shots at him at some SoRare meetup in the future.
I can't wait. I would love to see that. But I completely get their approach. It makes sense because it's something that I've followed as well. Like I basically moneyballed now. I just basically gone and got the best players for the summer and just waiting to see what happens with the game weeks being back. But I also get the thrill of having that one guy in your gallery where you don't know if he's going to be great or not. And then all of a sudden he has a run of games and he does really well. And then you're like, yes, I knew this, and I think Quinny talks about this a lot, right? He says like, I love the whole. I bought this guy that plays in Brazil, a youngster that no one really knows, and then he turns out to be class. You can be like, yeah, I knew it from the beginning. I enjoy that side of things as well. Like, and that's again, no matter how much money you spent, as long as you get enjoyment out of the game, that's the key, right?
Yeah.
That's what it's all about. I used to spend thousands on FIFA packs that I didn't care about for 2 weeks later, and no one in my that watched my content cared about a month later. And this stuff that I'm spending money on, it's completely different. I have utility. I own these items. I can compete with these items. I get to watch football games on 3 monitors, and see what Dembele does on this screen, see what Hill does there, and see what, I don't know, another player of mine does on the other. And that enjoyment, you just don't really get that out of anything else. So however you justify your purchases, that's your thing. No one should really comment on it. As long as you get enjoyment, that's it.
Yeah. That's the thing. It's like, I naturally am just a DJ when it comes to this. I'm like a magpie. I see something, I like it. I think it's undervalued. I think long term. I think long term. I think long term. And you know what? It's one of those things that maybe short term it doesn't lead to as much SO5 success as I could have. Maybe it's not optimal. Maybe it's not Moneyball. But like, who knows? Maybe in a year's time, because I am playing the long game, maybe naively. Maybe in a year's time, 2 years' time, my 42 super rares, my unique, are some of the best cards on the platform, and I'm a proper fucking whale churning out rewards every week in all the divisions. It's I'm having fun, but I am also going to bitch about it on this podcast for another year that I'm not winning SO5. So prepare for that. Oh, also, don't forget it's my birthday.
That belongs to your enjoyment as well. That's part of your enjoyment process, right? Like the whole getting onto the podcast and ranting about it.
Yeah, and then everyone has to listen to me. But yeah. So I bought a unique. You bought your Gil. I'm actually, part of me really wants one. I actually, do you know what I really want? I want a Cecina. That's who I want. But like, I know it's just.
I can't believe you didn't get him at the time when we all had that inside scoop that he's going to be back and fit again.
Hoodwinking his DMs.
Yeah.
He's just an animal, isn't he? Like,
hey, that turned out incredible. Like that suggestion at the time was like, oh yes, please. And then I bought him for like 0.8 ETH and he's now 2.6 or something. It's crazy. Man.
Yeah, what's that in Fiat though? You bought him for
I don't even know anymore.
I think I can probably find your transaction. You're probably in around here. Professor Hackers. Doesn't matter. You were in here. There was a lot of
purchases. It was a trade.
There was a lot going on. Yeah, he's definitely up.
Yeah, it was 0.8 ETH, 780 euros at the time, and now he's worth 2,500.
That man verges on game breaking. It's insane. Absolutely insane. But Cani, look, something I want to throw out here. Actually, will we do this first or we do that first? People are on the edge of their seats. They don't know what's coming next, Cani. That's you'll know this. In good content, you keep the audience guessing. Big personal bit of news. I reduced my hours at work.
Okay.
To do more content, to lean into it. I actually went in to hand in my notice because I was just going to say, fuck it. Let's go full time. Let's do it. And went in to do that, and they ended up just trying to keep me a bit longer, offered me like 50% hours. So I'm reducing my working hours by 50% as of August to make more content. So very excited. I'm going to be making a lot of FPL content over on the Fantasy Football Hub channel. Really exciting for me. Kind of gives me a little bit more exposure, a little bit more of a hedge almost cover, just in case there was to go tits up and I'm leaning away from my career. Do you know what I mean? I love it. I back it with all my gallery, but like your livelihood and feeding your family is something a bit different. But so anyone who's into FPL, you can find me on Fantasy Football Hub. And yeah, just a big personal moment, because I suppose after maybe 3 years of churning out mediocre content, we're trying to make it a little bit better. But another real world thing is, and it's been mentioned a few times, but I can now give out details, is the SoRare meetup. Cani, did you see my little tweet this morning? Did you see anything?
I retweeted it, mate.
Did you? Oh, thanks, man.
Yes.
So to give people a rough idea, I've said it already, but I can give the exact details now. August the 5th, I believe the doors will open somewhere around 4:30 because the FPL deadline is like 5:30 or 6 or something. So they want people to be able to get in a bit early. But bottom line is, I'll be there from 4:30, but I mean, it'll probably be a bit of a session. People can land in 6, 7, whatever. On August the 5th. I'm doing this with, when I say I'm doing it, it is me doing it, but it's with Fantasy Football Fest. Now, they've predominantly done meetups for the FPL community so far, but they are called Fantasy Football Fest. I wanted to do a meetup that weekend. In the middle of the summer, kick off the Prem seemed logical in England. And they were already doing one and their Fantasy Football Fest. So a couple of weeks I reached out to them and said, guys, your Fantasy Football Fest, not FPL Fest. Are you open to hosting us? So the initial plan was to have like a little SoRare section with their own little stage and blah, 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 blah. It's a huge venue. But as it turns out, there might have been a bit of annoyance from like the 2 stages with different sounds. So what we've decided to do is there's probably going to be 250, 300 FPL managers there who are all into it. So go there, spam them all with your referral codes and refer friends. But I'm hoping there's 50 to 100 SoRare managers there, maybe even more based on the response. I don't know. And there will be a period in the night for maybe 45 minutes, an hour on the main kind of stage where I'll talk with a few different content creators and stuff just about SoRare. We'll do that. We'll have our own wee section and stuff. So you'll know who's who. I'll have wee name badges if you want to put up your Twitter handle. And we'll mill around. We'll drink a lot of beers. We'll have a bit of fun. Maybe end up.
I'll make a prediction about that event. I think there's going to be more people coming out of there that's like make a SoRare account than people that play SoRare making an FPL account.
yeah. I think so too, because everyone who plays SoRare probably already has an FPL account. Do you know what I
mean? Yeah, I genuinely think like I think too many people don't even know this thing exists.
Yeah.
I think the more people know, the more will jump in and hop in and like get involved in this.
Exactly. No, I think so. Like, it could have almost been a big market opportunity for SoRare, but what SoRare are going to do is help me out big time with giveaways. So I haven't ironed out the nitty gritty, but a few things I kind of threw at them and hoping that they can come through on is obviously merchandise, just SoRare merch. I want some. I've been told that we can get, I don't know exactly which ones or whatever, but like signed jerseys from around Europe, which is kind of fun. Tickets to games, experiences. I don't think flights and accommodation will be included, but potentially VIP experiences to different games around Europe. I'm hoping they'll put a few cards up. If not, I'll probably end up having to do that. And hopefully a bit of a bar tab. Now, the ticket is 20 quid. It's London, August the 5th, Waterloo Station area. It's a place called something Arches. Waterloo Arches, I don't know. You can see where online if you're booking your ticket anyway. It's in Waterloo Station, right beside that. 20 quid a ticket. There is a free drink. It's London, so the free drink's probably 6 or 7 quid anyway. And I'm guaranteeing that you'll get at least that 12, 13 quid remaining worth of value on the night between bar tabs, giveaways, and just crack. You know, it's to cover venues and securities and audio and lighting and all that shit and insurances. So like, yeah, I'm just really excited to see who comes. I think there's a good few saying they'll come. And I'll tell you what, Cani, have you ever spoken on stage in front of real people, or do you just do it in your room?
No, it's literally just in my room. It's a completely different thing. I did that interview with Dortmund players at the time, like a huge production and everything. It was weird. It was weird. So it's definitely a different experience having to do that like in real life, for sure.
Man, I'm cacking it. Like, I'm cacking it, getting on a stage, because whatever, I kind of had it in my head that was going to be like a SoRare thing. And I was like, look, if it was 20 people coming, you just go to a pub, who the fuck needs a podcast or like people on a stage talking, acting like wankers, right? But whenever it's going to be more than that, I kind of like, and we're going to be doing it in this FPL space where they have all this content going on and quizzes and this and that, which we do or do not have to be a part of. It's optional entirely. We'll have a separate room with a bar.
You better record a podcast there.
But yeah, that's the thing. I'm like, I have to do something. So we'll be on the stage. I'll probably host it, but it's about, you know, obviously Quinny and Harry and Alex and whoever else are going. Josh Forth's going to be there. Mel's going to be there. There's going to be loads of people there. Hoodwink's coming. I think there's a few people flying over from America. I think there's a big part of the German community coming. HG's coming over from France. May or may not be staff members from SoRare there. Cannot be confirmed. Loads of people from the community coming. But it's like picking people. I'm going to invite the people that I want to speak to, who I'm used to speaking to and who I'm comfortable with. But like speaking on a stage in front of just SoRare people is one thing, because you know everyone kind of knows you and there's not as much judgment and whatever else. Doing that whenever it's the SoRare crew and then there's a few hundred FPL people lingering about at the bar and farting about, I'm like, holy good fuck. I'm gonna be sweating my bollocks. I'm gonna absolutely die, I think. But
Hey, you wanted to do this full time.
sink or swim, baby. Let's go. So if you want to watch me absolutely crumble on a stage, yeah, come.
You should maybe set up a live stream there as well. Just a suggestion, like so that people
Yeah,
can watch along what's happening in case they can't make it.
we're working on stuff like that. So I was thinking, because I'm going to be doing more hub content, so fantasy football hub content this season as well. I want to do like an FPL deadline stream from the event. Now I need to work that all out logistically. It could be a bit of a ball ache, and then definitely we could use that same sort of equipment to run a live stream of the stagey bit. Don't know what the audio will be like. The background. Anyway, that's not a me problem. That's a nerd problem. But Chani, yeah, the meetup, big one. I'll try and put a link in the description for tickets. 20 quid. Come on. If you're coming, come and buy your ticket early, because then we can count numbers and buy it, and make sure you tick that you're coming for SoRare content, and make sure you put your manager name in, because if you put your manager name in, that's where I'm going to draw giveaways from. So if you don't put your manager name in, hard luck. So there we go, Chani. But I think that leads on to a broader point just about meetups in general in the community. Like, I really want this to be a big one, because I want to push it out there, and then maybe the German community follow, maybe the Italian community follow, maybe the French community follow, or maybe they come. And then it also sort of puts the fire under SoRare to run SoRare Con. And I have SoRareCon.com up for sale if and when they want. Why am I not using that for this?
Yeah, I've seen people actually ask you why you haven't used it.
Why am I not using this? Anyway, yeah, it'll be interesting.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a great experience. I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to happen over there. I'll probably be on holiday with my wife, but yeah.
Getting FOMO. You live in like doing the proper thing, family man off, and we're all being DJs, drinking beers and talking about digital football cards. But
mate, if I get a chance to watch it live, I'm definitely going to be in that live chat. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. But Chani, another thing is, since you last came on, the 14th of January, that episode with you was the first time that I had been alerted to the absolute shit show that was the Casual Leagues rewards. Now, we spoke about this last week, but you were the guy who brought it up, and me and you went on a bit of a rant. And I'm not going to say it's all down to us, but it's kind of all down to us, I think.
I think so too. We'll take some credit there. Now, I think, like, as we said back then, 3 rewards for 100,000 people, especially if you want to onboard more and more people onto the platform, is just not the way. I get it that, like, going from 3 to 100 for still 100,000 people might not sound like a lot to people, but I feel like it was the right move into the right direction, at least. And I feel like they're probably planning a lot more from what Nicholas has been tweeting. There's more to come and all that good stuff. So I'm hoping to keep going into the right direction. I feel like people are very quick to jump on the negatives when it comes to SoRare, and never really give them props for what they do. And in this case, I think props are due. Like, you need to come out and say, okay, the Underdog League, great addition. Specialist League, great addition. Now you added up the more rewards into the comments, get more people involved. Great stuff. I think the one thing that the page is desperately in need of is like a content place where newcomers can, like, on SoRare, go onto a page and understand what it's about, how it works, how you go around it with the, I don't know, like the crypto part of it, how you put money on it and all that stuff. I feel like that's something that scares a lot of new users. And I'd love for them to do like an onboarding page where people actually understand how things work, rather than having to go on YouTube, type in, this is how you do it. Because as soon as you have that, a lot of people lose interest, I feel like. So I hope they do more of the onboarding of new users.
I think, like, it is quite an overwhelming thing to understand. And I mean, I think it says it all when I try and do a beginner's tutorial that encompasses everything, and it takes me half an hour, like a half-hour video that's edited down. It took me over an hour to actually record that. Like, there's so much there. Part of me kind of likes that they don't do it, because it means people go and find tutorials and sign up using links and they get paid, to be honest. But equally, SoRare probably should have their own content, or at least just a better onboarding process where it teaches basics a bit better. But
I mean, you
geez, it's a
already
lot to
have the
teach.
content creators, right? You already have the people that are involved into what SoRare does.
Mm,
Reach out to them. Reach out to you. Reach out to Quinny. Reach out to these people that love the product, anyways. And yes, they might be critical at points, but still, like, these people know your game.
yeah.
So have one person come in for one specific topic, explain it. Have the other one come in and explain that, or hire some neutral guy that we all don't know, just some kid, I don't know, and let him at least do it. Like, as long as it's there. I feel like for the
Mm,
onboarding, there needs to be, like, when you get onto the SoRare page, there has to be something that after you sign up, there's a video that pops up and explains to you how the site works, how to navigate it, where you can find help if you really need it. Yeah, I wish there was something like that. That would be like the
mm,
next step for me to make it easier for new people coming in, because
you
they
will.
said they're going to invest more into marketing now, right? And
Mm,
if they get the Prem and we have SoRare on the sidelines like they do in other leagues like La Liga and stuff, people are going to go onto the site and on the main page be like, what is this? I have no idea what's going on here.
yeah.
You have to have that onboarding experience.
What is a Hulshagger? What is a
Yeah.
Kami Fukumoto?
Why is
You
this guy
know?
yellow? Why is this guy red?
Yeah.
Like, what is it?
Do you know, actually, speaking of the Prem, and there's a few questions about that, how exciting would it be if the Premier League were announced in time for the SoRare meetup?
Mate, I think you guys would get double as drunk.
Oh. The Premier League fixtures are out. I think Arsenal are playing. Is it Crystal Palace? Maybe.
Liverpool
Arsenal are
playing
playing
Fulham.
yeah, yeah, they are away. They're away at Fulham as well.
Yeah.
But Arsenal are definitely playing on the Friday night, which is interesting because it means I get to use my Odegaard. So I'll have something going on that Friday night when we're all
Nice.
on the piss, which is good fun. But yeah, the Premier League, like, let me see, is there anything else I want to talk about here? The casual rewards, all in all, we're happy with that. 33 times
Yeah.
more rewards compared to when we last spoke.
It's never going to be perfect. As long as they keep improving, that's all we need to see.
Yeah, absolutely. But there were lots of questions about the Premier League. Let's see. SoRare Fox says, assuming the Premier League is to be announced, at what point do you expect the cards to start being minted? There is also, let me just scroll through these and give them all. What will happen if SoRare add the Prem, in Chinese opinion, and does he think we'll see cards go up because of the inflation of users? They're actually the only two in the Premier League. If the Premier League comes, what are your thoughts in general?
I think the Champion Europe items are going to be blowing up in price. Because, like, I would assume most of Star Rares, Tier 1 Rares are all of a sudden going to be Prem. And everyone wants those items. So in order to win those, you got to buy the top end players from the league, the Bundesliga, or at least, get the matchups right and do the right thing. And I think there's going to be a scramble for a lot of people that want to get involved in Champ Europe, because right now I feel like there's a lot of people that don't get involved in Champ Europe because they feel like they are like priced out. But as soon as that news comes out, it's a big opportunity to get involved early.
You
I mean,
want to
I've
win
just seen
your
today there's a KDB limited that someone sold for like Kirkju plus another big one and like 1.3 ETH. I was like, what is going on here? It's just crazy.
That seemed a bit like I don't know. I don't know the numbers, but that seemed like a bad trade on one side.
Yeah, I don't know how many of those limiteds were like printed, but
That's
you
the
can
thing.
like
There's
kind
only
of tell.
16 of them.
How many?
16. Kevin De
16.
Bruyne
Okay,
limiteds.
yeah, that makes sense.
But I mean, like, come on,
Yeah.
use your fucking head. Oh god, I don't want to go with lambast whoever this is. What if it's someone I don't know? Maybe you're listening. Like, this is a card of a guy who is rumored to potentially be on board. So let's say there's a 50% chance KDB, Man City, are on the platform come next season. I don't know what the numbers are. Let's say it's 50%. That 16 becomes 300 real quick. And is that worth 1.5 ETH plus 2 of the best under 23 players there are? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. But what we know is he can definitely win enough with that item throughout the next season to make up for it. So that should be okay, I guess. But yeah, like going back to the whole Prem thing, I think it's going to increase the user base a lot. I think we're right now at like 86,000, 89,000 people that have 5 items
Mm.
on the platform. I think that number jumps up real quick to like 120, 150 range when the Prem comes out. That's just at least what I think.
I think the stability of what's happened here, even with the volatility in crypto, will be quite nice for a lot of people. Even though it is a bit of a dip, fate wise, but we'll not get back into that. I think, like I've said this before, I'll say it again. I do think it's a massive marketing thing. I do think it brings a lot of buys, but I also think it convinces a lot of people who are already on the platform with those 5 cards to get 10 cards, to get 15 cards.
Yes.
I think that's where you see the most traction initially. I think initially everyone's going to FOMO in who's already on the platform, and then obviously the wave of new users could come. So look, I hope they get it. I mean, if they don't,
I
I
hope
don't think
so.
it's the end of the world, but it's definitely a
No.
little hiccup and a bump.
Yeah,
Um,
I agree. If it's like, I don't know, someone else gets a deal for 3 years and we won't have it for 3, that would be annoying.
yeah,
But if they don't get it, I don't know. As you said, it's not the end of the world. We already have enough exposure to great players on the platform. I mean, we have the Ronaldo, we have the Messi, we have some of the top players at Liverpool, like some of the top players in world football. We already have on the platform. It would be great to have the Prem added.
mm,
I'd love to see that come in because I feel like the prize pools would have to become bigger, and like some of the actual good players that you wanted to buy that were like playing in La Liga now maybe lost a little bit of value because people are selling up to buy the Prem players.
mm.
So there's going to be a lot of opportunities, I think, that come around with that. But whatever happens, I think the user base flies up and champ hero items are going to be probably more expensive than they already are.
You're right, because I mean, imagine like in that pool, you'll have, all the City players: Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal,
Yeah.
Tottenham. I mean,
Top six,
and
just
Tottenham
generally.
came into Man United.
Giving Son, mate. Son would be so expensive.
Like that's 6 teams there, and that's before you even get into the other teams. Like
Yeah.
that's 6 teams there worth of players who will all the starters will likely be tier 2 absolute worst, probably tier 1s, a lot of them.
Yeah.
I think the issue is maybe it's a competitive league, so the scoring, I don't know how a lot of them score. Let's have a bit of fun. How do you think who do we not have? How do you think a Chilwell scores?
Ooh. Wasn't he injured for a long time?
He's a bad guy. He was injured all season, but when he did play, he scored very well. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, he's decent, yeah.
Um,
I'd
how
say
does
like an L40 of 53.
you fuck off? You've got it on your screen, you
Is it
dickhead.
actually? No, I swear to God, I have Son on my screen.
You're full of shite. Do
No.
you?
Yes, I have Son. 75,
Oh,
68,
yeah.
66.
Son, let me see. Human son. Yeah, you nailed it. 53. That's mad.
Is it actually?
Jesus, 75.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Son smashed it last season, didn't he? And I mean,
Yeah.
imagine the Kane and Son stack.
Yeah. Oh, mate. It would be annoying to be up against.
It's actually going to break hearts. And then who would they even have in behind them? There's no one in that midfield who's particularly prolific. Maybe Bentancur was the best towards the end of the
Possibly.
season.
Yeah.
But like, well, they signed
Bissouma.
who'd they sign?
Bissouma.
Basuma. Yeah.
Yeah.
But he
Pretty good.
Basuma, well, I doubt he will.
61. L5, 61.
You're
L40,
joking.
52. Yeah.
Be in there tearing it. Yeah, he got an assist and he got a goal over the last sort of 5 games. But even like, let's say, like, what's a Connor Cody? Let's see, what's a Connor Cody?
I'd
I
say
mean,
48.
Connor Cody.
L40. What is it?
Connor Cody's 59, 54, 54. Like Connor Cody's he's the
Not too shabby.
ETH grinder galore there.
Their goalkeeper
going
was
off on
incredible, wasn't he? The Wolves goalkeeper was like one of the best keepers in the Premier.
Yeah, Jose Sa, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Looking
So
up,
that's
like,
probably in a plus 10 constantly added to his tally for Cody.
yeah. Even like guys who you think like, oh, they're grand. Like Richarlison finished that season strong.
Mm.
Richarlison L15 61.
Wow.
Throw another player or two at me, we'll have some fun. Phillips, he's meant to be getting a big transfer from Leeds. Calvin Phillips, he actually scored pretty shocking.
Does he?
Calvin Phillips does not suit the game.
Yeah. There you go. Like some players will be valued high because of their name, and some for their actual performance. It's going to happen again over here.
Who could be a weird wee cheat code? I'd say Ericsson slammed last season.
He was
He'd probably
very
get a
good.
transfer.
Wasn't he? Isn't he on SoRare anyways?
Oh, he is.
He was.
He actually is. Well
He was
done.
at
Yeah,
Inter,
Inter. Yeah. He did well towards the end of last season. I don't
But
know.
like generally, there's going to be a lot of good players that we get access to. That's for sure. I'll be very excited to see what's going to happen if we do get it. Because then you don't like, I don't know, like I'm interested to see how they compare. Like, let's say Ericsson and Fekir have the same L5, L40. One plays La Liga, one plays Prem. I wonder how the difference will be between those two items. Like, will it be overpriced because he's in the Prem, or will it actually be all right? I would assume at the beginning, any Prem player is going to go for insane amounts. So early on, what you want to do is have good teams to compete for those players.
Yeah.
And try and win them because you'll be able to sell them for a lot.
Here's a tip. If you're a patient player, go and buy the Nottingham Forests and the whoever else is, or maybe not Nottingham Forest, whoever you think's going to get relegated, Bournemouth, grab their cards and hold them, because when they get relegated next season, you're on to a winner. There you go. That's not actually a tip in the initial parts of the season, but I think it'll be really interesting if the Premier League were onboarded, if we had our first real situation where relegated players could be more expensive than players higher up the league because of what's to come, and the speculation that comes off that's insane.
Yeah. But, I'd be interested to see what happens to like Okoye now when he plays 46 games a season as an under 23 goalkeeper. There's going to be a lot of players that you need to look at in the championship. They're going to be very valuable now.
Absolutely. A question I wanted to ask you on the Premier League. Darwin Núñez has signed for Liverpool. Staggering fee. He's unfortunately going to be compared to Erling Haaland for him. What do you think happens to his SoRare score / price?
I think price-wise, the initial hype will probably carry him upwards a little bit, which I think it has already done. But performance-wise, surprisingly, if he does play, if he is in a starting lineup most of the time, I think he'll do better than he did at Benfica. I am going to go out there and say that right now. I think with Trent and Robbo crossing in on top of his 6'2" frame, which we desperately needed. I mean, we had to rely on Jota, the small man, to jump up and head those in, which he has done really well. But I think having him in there is going to add another threat to Liverpool's set pieces, to the corners, the free kicks from outside the box, and just generally the crosses from the fullbacks, which have been essential to how Liverpool play. So if he is set,
Mane does leave
plays,
as well.
Yeah. If Mane leaves, Diaz, Núñez, Salah, possibly as a centre attacking mid, you'll have Jota. Apparently, they're looking to play 4-2-3-1. So it's either Jota or Bobby as a centre attacking mid. I'd prefer Bobby because he does exceptional defensive work. And then you have Thiago and Fabinho as the CDMs. I think Liverpool could look different next season, but still be extremely efficient and successful. At least that's what I'm hoping for as a Liverpool fan.
It's funny because Núñez and Haaland are almost two types of player that those two clubs haven't really utilised or relied on for a few seasons now, and they've both done remarkable without them. So it'll be interesting how they both incorporate them and how it changes their game, if at all. But it'll be interesting to see. I agree. I think Núñez, the hype will get his price up, and then if he doesn't hit the ground running, it's going one way and that's down. But if he does hit the ground running, gets a couple of goals in the first 3 games, you could be looking at a bit of FOMO there, particularly in the under 23s. So
generally, real quick on that as well, like if you look at some of the strikers that Klopp has gotten into his teams in the past and built them up, the Lewandowskis and such, you see that he knows what he's doing with these types of players. Like he has that experience already of working these guys up to be the best in the world. We have seen it with wide players, with Salah, Mane. We've seen it with Lewandowski at striker. He seems to have that thing that really pushes attacking players to the next level. And I think based on that, I hope Núñez will be that guy. I expect him at first to respect players like Bobby and Jota. Like Klopp is going to be like, I know you guys brought us here, so I'm going to keep on playing you. But this kid is going to be subbed in and he's going to get his minutes. And then he will earn this spot. And I think that's what
Mm.
he's convinced of, and then that will be what happens anyways, because that's what Klopp does. He doesn't necessarily immediately throw them on like he did with Diaz historically, but it worked out last time, so maybe he goes for it again. I don't know, but at least I'm hoping he will carry Liverpool forward.
It's just looking there at the Liverpool prices. Some of them are really interesting reading. What's a Salah worth now? Probably worth a clean fortune, 4 ETH or something. Yeah, 4 ETH is bottom of market. One sold a couple of days ago for 3 ETH. But I mean, like, you'd pick up a Firmino, and I'm not saying Bobby Firmino was a great buy or anything, but like, he's like 0.25. You know, that's not a lot. I mean, I think Firmino looks like one of those players. I know he's going to be squad depth for another season or two, isn't he? He's not going to piss off the
Unless he
Inter
switches
Milan
to
or PSG or something.
4-2-3-1 and he plays ahead of anyone else in that spot. If he does, I think he could be very successful there. But I think Liverpool bought that Cavallo kid to possibly play there.
Yeah.
So we'll see what
Harvey
happens.
Elliott, does he kind of play attack and mid?
He plays centre mid, right centre mid, like an 8. And he's really good at combining with Salah. So I think that's the spot that Klopp normally kind of thought of him in that spot. But I'd be surprised to see him like centre attacking mid.
Yeah.
I don't know if he has that in him.
Well, I'd be interested to see what Liverpool do next season. And even I actually can't wait to see how Haaland fits in. I was saying on a stream earlier for FPL, like, my head tells me like he might not necessarily hit the ground running in terms of like lots of minutes, lack of rotation, and just do amazing. Like, my head's kind of saying like there's too much going on there. Pep roulette. I know it's Haaland. It just fitting into a new team. It's a new league. There's a lot of strikers who go from the Bundesliga. They hit the Premier League and they don't score exactly how we think. Timo Werner springs immediately to mind. Who's the other big one recently? It was a huge one.
In the Bundesliga?
Brain fart. They came from the Bundesliga to the Prem and didn't hit the ground running. Havertz, he's one. There's a couple. And I know Haaland, we all like to think of him as a completely different animal, and he is. But the other big thing that jumps out at me, which kind of worries me, is his injury history. It's really not good reading. Like, not even joking, not even just trying to be sensationalist and make some story and something to talk about.
And it's more
his
physical
injury history is brutal.
Yeah.
And I look at that. I'm not saying, and I know a lot of us aren't really necessarily in that kind of Haaland market on SoRare, maybe more so at limited. I actually do have a limited Haaland because I really like him, and I really think there is a chance that, like, my heart's like, oh, he's going to go to City and slam. But like, part of me is like, I don't know. I
mean, from an SO5 standpoint, you will probably most of the time get a goal out of him when he plays, right? Yeah. Question is, will you get the 80s, 90s, 100s? Because I feel like his all-round game isn't really up there with the likes of like an Mbappe, for example, where you have those take-ons, those dribbles, and the attempted assists and everything. I don't want to take anything away from Haaland, but I feel like he will possibly end up just being the focal point up top and the ball's being played into him rather than him being involved in the build-up and all that process of getting the team moving forward. I love Haaland. I think he's an incredible talent, but from an SO5 standpoint, I'd much rather have Mbappe.
Yeah, me too. I think, like, just to kind of go into that injury history a small bit and not going too deep, like, we're going to go all the way back here, maybe unnecessarily, but let's go to the 1920 season, right? He missed, I'm not going to tell you all the reasons, right? But basically, he missed 7 days, 14 days, 11 days, 4 days, and then 11 days throughout the season, right? You go into 2021, he had a really good season where this is a really good season for Haaland, his probably least injury-prone season. He was out for 4 days with knee problems. 4 days don't really count. But 28 days he was out with a torn muscle fiber, missed 7 games.
Yeah.
In fact, I could just tell you the amount of games he missed. So in 1920, he actually only missed like 5 games, right? Actually, he missed another couple. He missed 7 games. In 2021, he missed 8, 9, 10. He missed 10 games, right? Last season, he missed 16 games.
Yeah.
Like, and that's up until May the 5th. He was out in the last season. He was out for 18 days. Then he was out for 35 days. Then he was out for 42 days. I know this is a lot of numbers and throwing shit at people, but all I'm looking at there is like, I don't know. I just look at that and I think, like, physicality of the Premier League.
Yeah.
Everything else.
I'm just generally thinking about this in like a Moneyball thing as well. Mbappe plays for France. You're going to have those international games. Haaland playing for Norway, not as strong, obviously. So you have that aspect of it as well. And Mbappe, when I look at the past year, SO5 wise, he has 20 performances in the 80 to 100 point range, and Haaland has 8.
Yeah.
So that, and they're pretty much about around the same price in terms of like a rare right now. I just don't know. Like, I think he'll do well. I think he'll be exceptional if he can avoid injuries. I think City can actually then go and push for a possible Champions League win. But they also had Aguero, who is an incredible player, and he scored plenty of goals, and they couldn't do it with him. I'd be surprised to see if he makes the difference. I feel like he's going to make less of a difference at City than Nunez could at Liverpool, because he actually changes something that Liverpool's missing a lot. And City didn't want to play with a number 9. They played that weird formation where no one's a striker. So it's like a complete change for them now, from going from everyone gets to score to this guy's in the center. We need to find him.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see as well, though, how that impacts like the wingers there, because obviously if defenses are focused on the big machine that is Haaland, and all of a sudden the wingers and the attacking mids kind of coming into the picture a bit more, it could actually just distract to make it easier for the other guys to score.
Yeah, very much
with
possible.
Haaland up there just distracting people. But we'll move on to some questions, Chani. We have a lot of questions here. We've knocked out a couple of them. I don't know why this is here. Does this guy think you're Italian, or is this something to do with you? Do you have Italian in you? You're kind of
no.
German, Turkish, maybe?
Turkish, yeah.
Yeah. Well, this guy said, can you open with a saying, hey, it's a me, Johnny?
What the hell?
Is that like a joke you make on your stream or something?
Idea.
Neither do I. Hey, it's a me, Johnny. Oh, God.
I guess you wanted to like combine your name with mine. I don't know.
Maybe Johnny.
I don't know. Johnny John.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe. I just thought he was assuming you were Italian. Anyway, what's your favorite region and scarcity of the cars to play SO5 with, and why? And can SoRare reach the global audience they want, or is it always only going to appeal to a certain type of person? Says Mortz. Mortz is going to be at the meetup. Come and say hello to Mortz. Yeah.
I think the thing that I enjoy the most, I wouldn't say scarcity, I'd say division is the pro, just because of the rewards structure in there and the possibility of actually picking up the best cards. So I would say that if I would have to pick a scarcity, it would have to be rare for me now, of course. I'm heavily in on rare with a couple of super rares in there. It just seems to be the place to be for my budget. But at the same time, a lot of times I look back and think, oh man, with this budget, I could have had the best teams in Limited throughout the entire season. So it's a weird one, but I enjoy this more because it feels like I'm one of the few that have these items rather than I'm one of the many. I don't know. That's a weird one for me, but like that's how I look at it a little bit.
Yeah, I think what I love with my super rares is I love when one of them bangs. It's like,
yes, you're one of the 10 people
that are going to celebrate that. Yeah.
I don't know.
A hard one I find though to like know how to feel is I have a limited Mbappe,
and
a limited Haaland, and I often just chuck them in together. We'll see how that one plays out next season. But like, whenever Mbappe scores, I give all my limited rewards away to YouTube viewers. So it's like I'm not gaining here, but I'm kind of happy. But it's just decimating my under 23 pro. Do you know what I mean? So it's like I'm kind of like I'm cheering against that lineup, but I'm also kind of cheering for it. It's almost just like a consolation prize.
I guess it's kind of painful seeing it, and like imagine if it gets like first place, and they're like, "Oh, cool, I won Kimmich." No, I didn't. Someone else did.
Yeah. I've given away a couple of good ones recently. I gave away Marco Reus the other day, and I gave away Osako, the goalkeeper, recently. And
what was the second part of that question again?
The second part was about can SoRare actually reach a global audience, or is it always just going to appeal to a certain type of person? I mean, it's not going to appeal to my mom ever.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you've seen it, but
what needs
she does
to happen
like buying smiley boys.
I love that video. I love that video, mate. It was class. I was laughing.
Oh, fucking hell. My sister's down this weekend, and I'm debating, do I let her spend money on SoRare? She's like, I want in on it, but I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if I want to do
Give
that
her a
again.
smaller budget.
Yeah, maybe 500 quid. I mean, it's probably worth as much as the grand was a week ago. But anyway,
Yeah, I think the reaching out to the global audience thing, like I can only speak as a football fan myself that only watched one team. This made me addicted to watching 10 teams because I just want to see how my players do. And I feel nearly just as much involved as I do with watching Liverpool games when my players do well. So when Liverpool plays, I'm 100% in. I'm cheering on. I'm sad when they do bad. I'm super happy and my day's saved when they do well. And it's kind of the same now with every single player I have on SoRare. So I feel like every football fan wants that feeling. Every football fan wants to be as involved as possible with the game. Now, I'm not talking about SoRare, but the game of football. And I just feel like this is the perfect way. And I know it costs. I mean, now you can play the comments and you can win items and cheer on. That's it. Like they have opened that door up. So the free to play aspect has never been better than it is now. So at least since I joined. So I'm just genuinely excited to see how many people are going to hop in once they actually do a lot more marketing. Yeah. And I just think it comes down to the fact that people are scared of NFTs. Like there's a lot of NFT hate out there, which I completely agree with because most of them have absolutely zero utility. But this game does. And I feel like once people get past that fear of NFTs when it comes to SoRare, there's going to be so much more of a bigger audience coming in, especially with the Prem.
Yeah, I hear you. I think there is a lot of like, is it FUD? Is FUD the word around NFTs in general? Fear, uncertainty, doubt.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think mostly doubt.
Yeah. There's a lot of. I think particularly in the football world, it looks like this. You know, the kind of fan tokens and footballers bringing out their NFTs. To people, it just screams monetizing fans. It screams anti-football. It screams Saudi money and financial fair play and everything to do with corruption. Everything that's wrong with the game is what it's being kind of unfairly thrown in with.
Yeah,
I think it's on SoRare to prove through experiences, real world stuff.
You know what? I just had an idea. How about if SoRare buys up like a 4th tier French team?
Oh man.
And like some of our transactions go into that team and we're like part of that club's success. How nuts would that be?
You know, they add instead of adding I don't know what the commission on secondary will be someday, but let's say the commission was going to be 2%, make it 3%, and that extra percent funds a club.
Yes, that's what I was saying. Like, imagine that. How incredible would that be?
Fiat United aren't doing the same thing. I don't know if you've seen them. They basically have NFTs that are basically running a club in like Thai something division, and their kind of goal is to get into the ACL over there and go. But they're signing guys, they're creating content around it. It's just interesting. There was this Rug Pool Kings, which was a similar concept, but Fiat United, are actually like they're like there's Tops, there's Panini, they're kind of 3rd or 4th in that list of like big card producers, so they have a long sort of history and credibility to them. And I think they've kind of bought this, and even if no one really gets involved in the NFTs, it's not like they're going to go under a rug pool. So like it's interesting. Fiat United, I don't have any cards, but it's one that I don't have any NFTs from them, but it is something I kind of find interesting. But yeah, I think like imagine a SoRare club, or if SoRare just sponsor a club and there's SoRare on the shirts, we'll all leap into that shit.
Yeah,
imagine having a SoRare card with SoRare written on it on the shirt as the sponsor.
Yeah,
crazy.
But it would. I like the sponsor thing, but I would love them to have a club. And if you tell me every transaction I make, 1% goes to that club, I'm fine.
Yeah,
because I like, and then you live stream their games on the platform. Everyone watches it live in the chat.
Yeah.
Let's freaking do it. You know,
commentary, like the whole shebang. Yeah.
Oh, man, it would be unreal.
I think. Yeah. Let me see. Is there anything I want to add into that question from Morts? What's my favorite region under 23? I love playing up in the higher division. I love the jackpot factor of playing like super rare, even though I never really compete. And can they reach the global audience? It always is going to be like a certain type of person. It always, like, it's not going to appeal to everyone, but they can definitely appeal to a lot more than they do now. And I think actually an interesting point that comes up based off the last week's events is they've always said that crypto is almost like a means to an end. Blockchain technology is they need it, and that's what they're using it for. Like it's not by choice that Ethereum is a huge part of their platform. I think I read Nicholas a while ago saying that he sees a day where it was all just fiat and you could deposit and withdraw the credit card type of thing. Now, does this sort of thing, what's happening, increase maybe the rate at which they should be looking at that? And I do not understand the ins and outs of stable coins and this and that and whatever. I'm not going to try and act like I do. But like in terms of getting people on board, what I can see from a newcomer now is looking and going, okay, I'm going to get involved in SoRare. What on earth's a SoRare? Okay, this is what a SoRare is. Great. How do I buy a card? Oh, I have to buy ETH. Is ETH not that thing that dropped 40% last month? So am I not going to lose money? And then you go, oh, well, no, because and they're, I don't know about this. So even whether they're right or wrong, they're going to think, oh, it's like SoRare's risky, ETH's risky. Oh, I don't know. It's another barrier. It's another. So a lot of people might love football, might love fantasy, but hate crypto, and they'll go, fuck that.
Yeah.
Do you know?
I totally understand your point. I think it just comes down to like the next generation, our generation, the ones after us. Everyone is somewhat getting educated in terms of crypto because it feels like, even though a lot of people obviously have made losses, but as long as you have time in the game, in some of the better projects, you will do well over time. And I feel like a lot of people will get involved into crypto a lot more. And then this won't be like how do you do this? What is this? Crypto, ETH? Like, how do I feel safe? And when it comes to the whole stable coin thing and like a different wallet in there where you can like exchange it, I don't know how it would be for SoRare then in terms of like regulatory stuff. I don't think they want to tap into that because they already have a functioning product and you can withdraw if you need to. There you go. That's what it is. Of course, gas fees suck. They really do. And I hope with Ethereum 2.0, when it ever comes out, hopefully we'll have less gas fees in the future so that it doesn't hurt as much to take things out instantaneously. But I don't think they will ever change the setup from what it is now. Do you think they will?
I think they'll change something at some stage. I don't know what it is, but I don't see the balance always just being a crypto like ETH wallet forever. I see more people thinking Fiat, and I think, can it be displayed in Fiat if you want at the minute? Can you display it?
I think. I mean, I don't know.
In settings or something? My club.
No, you can't. Not right now.
My SoRare, my settings or something. You're probably in there already. Yeah. Conversion currency. Yeah. Maybe someday there's some. I think there'll be something it's not just an ETH balance. I feel like maybe, but I don't know. Chanley, look, I'm not the guy for that.
As a believer in ETH, I would hate to lose access to ETH on the site. Like long term, that's what I also believe in, right? Like I believe in the project SoRare, but I also am a big believer in ETH as the second biggest cryptocurrency out there. So I would hate to lose access to it on SoRare. And especially, how do you do it now in terms of fiat? I'm down, I don't know how much percent on my gallery. Do you now take away all that by just paying me or telling me now these players are only worth fiat? Like it's a slippery slope there.
I know.
I think they're in a spot now where they just have to carry on and get along with it. And they do push the fiat side of things anyways on the platform with the prices and stuff.
I was going to say the positive thing is that now you're getting in and around 0.05 ETH. Do you know what I mean? For a threshold, which is if you believe in ETH long term, make hay while the sun shines. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, mate.
That's
honestly, like that's what I'm kind of excited about. I get it. We're in a global recession. Everything is going up. The price of everything is going up. Inflation is going nuts. All the big stocks, Nasdaq, S&P 500, everything is crashing. And the money you have is worth less in wherever you live, really. I remember when €1 was like 6 Turkish lira. Now it's like 18 or 20. It's crazy. So like, I know for a fact that people really do care about their money and all that stuff, but
Mm,
you also have to look at this period as an opportunity to accumulate as much at the bottom as you can. So for
yeah.
me, I'll try and have a decent ETH balance on the side always as I play SoRare. I'm gonna make a point in not constantly buying players. It's like this low that we're gonna have for the next year, year and a half, whatever it's gonna be. That's gonna be the time where I'm gonna try and put together as much ETH as possible, and make profits in big ways. Hopefully,
Could you argue that you could make more ETH if you upgrade and do buy players with that ETH to compound and make more ETH? Just you know what I mean?
yeah. I
That's the
know what you
balancing
mean.
act.
Like the gallery value, then you mean like keeps going up,
Well,
and then
more about the yield. Like, I mean, if your gallery can yield X amount of ETH or cards in the short term, like, and you're holding a 2 ETH balance because you're trying to
yeah,
accumulate ETH, there becomes that argument where it's like,
of
can I
course,
yield that 2 ETH from this 2 ETH in 16 months,
yeah.
18 months? And it's a hard one.
It makes sense. Like I think the point what I'm trying to get across is like I want to be at the point where I'm happy with every team I have, and then I'll start like putting the ETH aside.
Yeah.
That's what I'm like more about, rather than like, oh, like I'm not gonna buy any more players. That's not gonna happen. I'm obviously gonna be buying players because I don't have
Yeah.
a champion team. I don't have. I don't know if the under 23s I have are all gonna be playing in the teams that they are in. There's gonna be still plenty of things that I need to fix, but I really want to make a point of like trying to get as much ETH as possible in whichever way. If it's buying players and yielding, or if it's like putting it aside and waiting.
Yeah.
I just want to use this like 1 year, 1.5 year downside that we're gonna go into now, that we're already in, to get as much as possible.
I feel like I'm kind of at the towards like the maximum amount I kind of want to put in. Now, I don't know if that changes, but I think like I have to almost like make myself make that call because it's very exciting and I'm like a magpie and I'll see something in the market and I'll just go and buy it. But it's kind of
Mm,
getting to that stage where it's like if you just keep buying and buying and buying and buying and buying, where's the end goal? You're probably
yeah,
gonna have to pull as a raw. Do you know what I mean? It's like
yeah,
it might be nice to kind of just have fun now, let it compound, take a wee bit out here and there, and see what happens, and just enjoy the gallery that I've built. But I say
yeah,
that, and then I'm probably going to inevitably want another unique. But then I could trade super rares in for that or whatever. But
yeah,
anyway, we'll do one more question, Channy, and then we'll go. Shout out to everyone who did submit them. There's two here that kind of are the same thing. Jolin and Ron Royal, SoRare. What's needed to improve the casual league to a more representative level of the rest of SoRare, and how would you improve SoRare for low budget casual managers? Would you look to broaden the appeal or keep it specialized? And then a secondary question from Julian there about what's needed for SoRare to onboard more and more people. We kind of talked about different bits here, but basically it's
yeah.
around like that casual league. I don't know how much you play at Channy, but something I've said I'd like to see is regions, and I know it is hard from a sort of common card standpoint. I was
Mm,
talking with Mark last week, and it can be hard at times. And apologies, did I say this already in the podcast? The mic last week was butchered. It was the wrong mic picked up, so I sounded like I was talking through a turnip. Unfortunately, but yeah, different regions and casual would be good for educating people a bit more about the game and getting a little bit
yes,
more used to it. But the issue is that, okay, I want to play Champion America Common, but I haven't won a Champion American card yet. How do I actually do
yes,
that? So that
yeah,
adds another element of complexity. But
yeah.
unless there's another draft for each region or something, I don't know.
They would have to do it in a way where you can like pre-pick what region you want to win rewards in. So if
Yeah.
I put my team into casual challenger, I need to be able to pick. I want my reward to be a common from the Asia region.
Mm,
So only that way you're going to be having people winning the items that they actually need to compete in all the divisions.
yeah.
And since these items aren't worth anything on like in terms of NFTs, these are common cards. They can just put that system in there, I reckon.
Mm,
So if they do want to expand to different regions and they want to bring in all the ones that we already have on the 23 Challenger, Champion Europe, Asia, and all that good stuff, you would have to have it so that people can like say, okay, I'm going to take part in the competition this week. This is my team of 5. I'm playing the global side of things, but I want to win a reward that's from the Asian region.
yeah.
That's probably
Yeah.
the only way I can see it really opening up and bringing all those other divisions. Because as you said, like the people that have had time on the platform have a massive advantage. and I feel like the percentages shouldn't really be used in the casual divisions now.
Mm. Yeah, yeah,
Because
I agree. It's a
yeah,
old player advantage when it should really be level or like a nice place for beginners to come
yeah,
in and have fun and learn.
yeah.
Whenever people like me have an advantage, even though I've actually got shite commons, I've always had shite commons. Like I have really bad ones. I don't think I
Probably
have
because you
really
didn't
any
care,
star ones.
because there are no
Yeah,
rewards, right?
yeah, probably should have cared more. Okay, well, look, shout out to we've actually talked about SoRare Israel's question. We actually did talk roughly about what Jay asked. Um, and this was the Champ America podcast that asked you a question about how do you make your decisions and who to buy? What's your SoRare data stalking technique? NG gives you a bit of shit here saying you only buy high players. And then
I'm
whipping
proud
clips
of
out
it.
at you, which is very funny. But
Nah, I'll completely admit to that. Like, I do buy players that do well. That's it. Like, why would I buy players that aren't doing well? I'm trying to win. I'm trying to win out here. I get it. I get it. I do my research on the players, like that Chesinia thing. I saw that he's coming back from injury, looked up his scores and everything, and like looked up how he's done in the past, and I was like, oh my god, this guy should be nuts when he comes back.
Mm,
So bought him at the time. Hill, obviously, the research that went into it is just Sean constantly telling everyone you're a moron if you
every
don't have
week.
Hill.
Yeah.
So that was what really pushed me towards that. But other players like Morishiga, for example, at the time, no one really told me about him as far as I can remember. And I just wanted the guy. I felt like, okay, he's old but gold. Let me get the
Yeah.
guy. I like his scores. And then the Slavic was more of a, it just happened to be on the market. And I was like, you know what? Surface told me goalkeeper super rares are a good option, cheap compared to the other positions. They only cost twice as much most of the time than the rares,
Mm,
while outfielders cost like 3 to 4 times. So I saw it in the market. I was like, hey, you know what? I'll go ahead and get that. So a lot of times it's like a coincidence, and whatever situation you're in and the needs you have that dictate the purchases that I make. But I
yeah.
spent so much time on SoRare data, constantly going through players and possibilities that I want to acquire in the next season, especially the European season. So I already put together like watch lists of players that I really, really want to get involved.
Mm,
So now that I'm kind of settled with the players that I have, that's where the hours go into it. I look for midfielders with great AA, with decisive capabilities. I look for defenders that play in teams that play a lot of passes, that have a good goalkeeper where I'm more bound to get those clean sheet bonuses. I look for in attackers, I look for wingers that get dribblings and attempted assists and all those things rather than being just goal reliant. So yeah, there's a lot of things to really look into, and huge shout out to SoRare Data. I think without that page, I would be maybe 20% as involved in SoRare as I am now. That
yeah.
they do an incredible job with their updates and everything.
I couldn't play SoRare without SoRare data. I just
Yeah,
couldn't. And I
same,
wouldn't. I actually wouldn't.
same.
Um, So we'll finish up with the 137 game. Thanks for all the great questions. And again, don't forget it's my birthday on Saturday. So last week, Mark picked Donnarumma and Vitor Ferreira, isn't it, at Porto, who scored a combined 108 points, which leaves 21 quid for charity. Which, have I got that wrong? 108 points. 29 points off 21. 21 quid to charity, plus the 94 originally. We're up to 115 in the charity pot. Cani, it's on you. Who are you going to pick? You can pick as many players as you want.
I'm going for Hill and Haruya Fuji. So an 80 from Hill, a 57 from Fuji, 137. Thank you very much.
Okay, 80 from Gale, 57 from Fuji. Best of luck. Godspeed. Cani, it's been an absolute pleasure. I suppose people are you putting out much SoRare content at the minute?
Yes, I will be back at it now that my teams are playing again, so I'm very happy about that.
So it's SoRare Cani on YouTube, and I suppose I can find you everywhere else. Just look up Cani. But Cani, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thanks a million. We'll maybe catch up again before the end of the year and see how the summer goes, start of next season, all the rest. But thanks a million for your time. Is there anything you've got in the works or anything you want to shout out to people?
Nah, thanks, man. I appreciate you having me on. Wish everyone good luck with their galleries and their game weeks. And however you like value the E for Fiat thing, just do whatever to upgrade your enjoyment. Don't think about it too much.
That's
I
it.
guess that's what I want to give people on their way.
Fun is its own currency.
Yes, there we go.
There we go. Fun token. All right, Cani, cheers. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button on your way out, and do check out the meetup details in the description below. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.